Hello and welcome to our house in the Valentine's Day edition of the Now Sport Update.
And I am the very warm Dave Bryson.
I'm Dave Bryson. I'm Dave Bryson. I'm Dave Bryson. Let's get on with it.
Woo! What a ride. Now I know why they were saying millions of people do this.
That's right, it is the race, and there's been all sorts of fun and games, and the race has not yet even started. We're starting with boxing, and tonight in Las Vegas, Lennox Lewis will be defending his heavyweight crown against challenger David Tua.
Not as cocky as I was before, am I?
Got my map, and I'm ready to go. Right now, I'm joined live on the show by Tracy Edwards, an around-the-world skipper. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. Joining me now here in the studio is now reporter Greg Atkins. Greg, thank you. When I met him a couple years ago, he showed somebody a couple moves, and I was just like, that's mighty fast for a 55-year-old man. I was like, that's mighty fast for any man, just how quick his hands still were.
It's amazing.
I was amazed. Well, Fenella, let's talk about Tony Bullimore for a moment. It sounds like he's losing crew members left and right, so if you're free, maybe you could get on.
I have been offered, but I've declined politely.
Ooh, I love that. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Today in part 2, we learn about the Ali of today, his battle against Parkinson's disease, and his place in the sporting pantheon. Good, nice to hear from you. Brad, what do you think about the XFL? Is it living up to expectations?
No, not really. It's just a bunch of bad football, Dave.
How safe can it be to attempt a round-the-world trip without a crew you haven't sailed with before?
Well, he phoned my watch captain yesterday and asked her if she'd like to go with them, and she called me and she said, what do you think?
That looked pretty simple enough. You ready to go for it?
Certainly.
Let's get ready to rumble!
It's about 3.5 kilometers and you made it in 33 minutes. That's good.
Not bad for an old man like myself. Well, after a hard day on the course, it was nice to watch the sunset, sit back, catch my breath, and reflect on my day on the orienteering course. Well, after a tough day on the orienteering course, it's nice to relax by the warmth of a fire and beautiful countryside. To me, this is what orienteering is about, being outside. This is what Team Legato's eating. What's some of the other boats eating? What's their menus like?
We're all on the same fare, basic fare, really. The limitations are so bad. Because
nobody's living large? Come on, are any crew members smuggling food on board?
A Yank and a Brit go head-to-head. It's sports Dave Bryson and Jake Humphrey.
Now, we have a rip snorter of a second half coming up. So we're going to see you in just a couple minutes. And remember, if you want to see me doing anything, you want to see me tango, email me. Right now, I'm joined live on the show by Tracy Edwards, an around-the-world skipper. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. So, let's talk about Tony Bullimore, first of all, and Team Legato. They continue to struggle, and you know all about this catamaran.
Yeah, well, this is our old boat. This is the boat that we raced nearly 3/4 of the way around the world on, doing the Jules Verne Trophy 2 years ago. We lost our mast in the Southern Ocean. We broke 5 world records on that boat, so she's a great boat, and he's lengthened her, he's put a new mast in, he's done all the things we would have done if we'd have managed to raise the money to do the race, so he's got a great boat.
What about the crew?
He doesn't have very many crew at the moment. Unfortunately, 3 guys walked off after the delivery to Barcelona, and Tony is now really struggling to find some more crew to replace them. Tony's problem has always been money. He's spent a lot of time trying to raise the money, and he's had a real struggle to get this far, which is actually why we dropped out a year ago, because we couldn't find the money. And to get to this point so close to the start and not have a crew that haven't sailed on the boat is
That's what I mean.
amazing.
How wise and how safe can it be to attempt a round-the-world trip without a crew you haven't sailed with before?
Well, he phoned my watch captain yesterday and asked her if she'd like to go with them, and she called me and she said, what do you think? And I said, I wouldn't go. Not because of Tony or the boat or anything, but they haven't sailed together, they haven't trained together. Most of them have never sailed a catamaran. They are just about to go and sail one of the most dangerous boats in the world, in one of the most dangerous oceans in the world. And you have to wonder, if they're going to be able to do it.
Yes, and I understand the crew they have at the moment hasn't even undergone safety training.
No, they haven't. And I think maybe, you know, the race is such a great thing, and I admire Bruno Perron for his vision, and respect very much how much he drove so hard to get this race to the start line. But now he's starting to break his own rules. He's starting to say, oh, well, actually, you don't have to qualify, and you know, you can just arrive, and we'll just do a few safety checks, and off you go. And maybe that's, you know, the way to get the number of boats into the race that he needs, but I think it could be disastrous.
Should he have delayed the start of the race?
There's a lot of people that say that the race should have been delayed for a year, and that would have given a lot of people, ourselves included, the chance to get to the start line. But, you know, he said no, the race is going to start on the 31st of December, and he's stuck to his guns. But I think maybe what he should be doing is also sticking to his guns about the qualifiers, and if you haven't qualified, you shouldn't be in the race.
Well, the statistics are at the moment that if 6 boats start, 1.6 will finish. What will that do to deter sponsors in the future from sailing?
Well, I hope that 4 boats will finish. I sincerely think that there's 4 good boats in the race. I think that Legato may have problems, and I think that the Polish entry may have problems. If for no other reason than, again, they're ill prepared, they don't know the boat, they've had money problems, crew problems. And those are not problems you need just before you're about to set out, as I say, you know, into the Southern Ocean. But 4 of those boats could finish. PlayStation could do really, really well. You know, they've had 2 years building the boat, training, changing the boat, making all the modifications. They've got a fantastic crew. You've got Grant Dalton, who is a true professional through and through. Again, a fantastic boat, brilliant crew, lots of training, exactly the right way to do the project. And you also have the 2 other boats with Loic and also Cam, and they could, you know, quite easily make it round as well. So it could be a fantastic race.
Right. What about Steve Fawcett and PlayStation? Is he more of an explorer, or is he actually a top-notch sailor himself?
Steve's a very good sailor, but the great thing about Steve is that the reason why he is as successful as he is in business is because he knows to ask people, and that's the secret, you know. If he'll fly a balloon around the world, but he'll ask the best man to come and do it with him, you know. Right. So he'll spend the money, he'll get the right boat. He's brought in the right people. He's brought in an experienced crew, fantastic skipper. So he will make it, and they will make it round, not because he's the skipper, but because he knows to bring in the right people, and he's not afraid to ask. Yeah.
Now, you touched on the Polish team of Wartopol Pharma. What kind of problems are they looking at?
They've had big problems right from the start. Again, a struggle to find the money. You know, I mean, if 2 of the top sailors in Britain couldn't find the money in Britain, you imagine what it's like finding the money in Poland. They've had a real struggle. Again, they're late getting down there. The storm that stopped everyone, that destroyed Team Phillips, has now, you know, sort of stopped people getting there in time. They are still putting their boat together. They're still provisioning. They're still trying to find stuff. So, you know, I mean, that could be interesting.
And Tracy, what have you been up to lately? Since, I mean, I know you wanted to participate in the race and you were not, so what are you doing?
Well, the girls have decided that they'd like to try the Jules Verne again, and I'm 100% behind them on that. I had a baby a year ago, so I actually won't be going with them. But they want to go. I'm their new shore manager. They've asked me if I'd manage the team for them, so I'll be raising the money and setting them off. And
you also have a book coming out, if I'm not mistaken?
Have a book coming out in February as well. So yeah,
and what's that on?
Quite busy. It's an autobiography. It's called Living Every Second, and yeah, we'll be on sale in February.
Well, we look forward to reading that. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're
I really
very
appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay, it's time to check in with Jake in the arena for the latest cricket scores from around the globe. Joining me now here in the studio is now reporter Greg Atkins. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. And you have just returned from Barcelona, where preparations are well underway.
That's right. 4 boats already in the harbour, 2 more to go. One is Team Legato and Tony Bullimore. They're hoping to have them along. And of course, there's a little bit of an incident just off the coast of England.
Would you care to touch on that?
Yeah, basically there were 4 journalists who had a nice little trip from Bristol, Avonmouth to be exact, which is on the west coast of England, round the corner at the bottom of England, up to Falmouth, where they're going to be dropped off. They have a nice little story, a whole day on the boat, get a feel for it, off they pop, write their stories. He goes down to Barcelona, but the bad news was a 4-7 gale appeared. Tony Bullimore, the skipper, decided, I'm not stopping, I'm afraid you're coming with me, and they were hostages.
There you go. What do you do then? Do you wish you were one of those journalists?
Probably not. It was the 4-7 turned into a force 9, and the seas off the Bay of Biscay get pretty ugly. And it was only last week, of course, we heard about Team Phillips and what happened to them. They had to abandon ship. These journalists got away with it, but it could have been a very, very serious incident. But what a story.
Did they have passports with them?
No. You picked that one up. One of them had passports. They had not enough food. There were 14 on the boat and only sleeping arrangements for 8. They would never have made it to Barcelona food alone.
Were they furious about this, or did they handle it all in stride?
They tried to get an escape committee organised. They thought about drugging the skipper, any action to get off that boat. The French crew wanted to go all the way to at least to Spain. Whether they made Barcelona, I don't know. But the journalists wanted to get off immediately, and of course it was terrible strife. But they couldn't get a better story than this. Some said they had other things to do. What better than this?
What are some of the other teams preparing for? How are they doing in their preparations?
Well, in Barcelona, it's completely relaxed. It's a beautiful harbour. It was 60 degrees, clear blue sky. The boats are just pottering around, doing a few tinkering with the mast here, a few ropes being tied up. It's absolutely wonderful down in Barcelona, and the event is really building up down there. There's a big atmosphere, but we need all the boats if the race is going to start on time, and that is the problem, getting to the race.
At the moment, which boat would be the odds-on favourite?
I think Club Med looks like it's probably the favourite. It's got Grant Dalton, who's a very experienced skipper, involved in it. PlayStation I quite like the look of, but it's a little bit out there. It hasn't really been tested properly, but it's a radical design, and it's certainly very, very beautiful. These yachts are awesome.
Didn't Club Med have a little fire and bump another boat the other day? Will that set them back?
A slight little incident, yes. Don't worry. The French organisers and France Telecom and a French boat, they all clashed, but what do you expect? There was a little fire, down below. There was an electrical fault with the engine, and they couldn't quite get the steering right, and it rammed the France Telecom boat inside Barcelona harbour. But we're talking about a tiny little nick like this, bit of paint damage, and a little bit of pongy rubber, if I remember.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us. And Greg will be telling us more about the race in the days to come. And we're going to have our own website that is dedicated to the race, so make sure to check that out. Email me, sportalive.now.com. Bye-bye.
Look, Dave, you're here at Heli Air to learn how to fly a helicopter. I want you to meet someone.
Got it.
Meet Q Smith, your instructor.
Q, nice to meet you.
Hi, Dave. Excellent. You're going to learn to fly today?
That's the plan.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Helicopter theory, 60 seconds. Here we go.
Well, Q sorted me out in the classroom yesterday. Now it's time to put everything I've learned to good use. Let's go.
Hi, Dave. Welcome. How are you? Pretty good. Headset. And turn the battery on. And the flashing light on here. Good. You turn the key, it'll start. The truck. And that's running. You can see we've got oil pressure. Turn the alternator on to charge the battery. And push the switch forwards. It's the clutch. And that is going to engage the rotor with the engine. Very gently, just open the throttle by turning it away from you, and look at the RPM. Yeah, there we go. You can hear it getting faster, and you can see the RPM rising. And you can feel it taking over. Ooh, daddy. Everything is starting to work. So just feel the collective lever now as we take off and leave the ground. Can you feel that?
Yep.
Good. Do you want to crack at it?
Yep.
Okay, you've got the collective lever.
Got it.
Okay, try deliberately going up. And hold this height.
Not as cocky as I was before, am
I? Okay. You have the cycling stick.
I got it.
Okay, and I have it.
Now you have it.
So immediately I gave it to you. The thing changed attitude to the right. It tried to tip to the right.
And I overbalanced?
No, you didn't overdo anything. You didn't prevent it.
Okay.
Okay, that's enough on the stick for now. Let's have a little look at...
Oh, now here comes the fun.
Here comes the fun. Let's have a little look at the tail rotor pedals.
We're going to go left.
Yeah. And keep going left, and not too much, not too fast, not too fast, not too fast. Press the right one. Okay, good. And try going to the right then. And nice and slowly. Good. More right pedal to make it go. And left to stop it going so fast.
Oh. Come to daddy.
Okay, I've got it. I'm just going to take over just so you can relax and your brain doesn't get fried. Exactly.
My hands melded to the thing.
Beautiful.
Phew, I don't know, this is what life is about. I love speed at low altitude.
Well, guys, at the moment I'm being flown around the southeast of England by a television presenter who's never flown a helicopter before. It's his first time. He's been flying for 20 minutes. It's up to him. Hey, Dave, can you take me off to the left there?
That I can do for you.
Great. How about that? See, so if he can do it, there's hope for all of us. Think I better look out the window? Excuse me.
I got it.
Okay, let's go that way again. Okay, so arriving back at base.
Q, how did I do?
It was good. Very, very good. Well done. You virtually had all the controls. You were certainly hovering with a stick only. You flew me around the circuit. Well done, mate.
Well, Q, thanks for your help. You make it look easy.
Well done, Dave. Thanks very much, huh?
Recently, I took a trip to Norway to take a look at a sport that I participated in as a kid. It's called orienteering. Some call it the thinking man's sport. We went along to the Park World Tour competition, which is an example of sprint orienteering. It's not set in a forest, but it's just as intense.
Norway is a beautiful country that lies in northern Europe. The pine forests and vast landscape are the inspiration for the Norwegians' love of the outdoors. One deep breath of the fresh air and it is no surprise that the life expectancy of its inhabitants are among the highest in the world. We begin our story in the fortress town of Fredrikstad in southeast Norway.
Welcome to Sport Now on the Road. I'm Dave Bryson. Today we're in Fredrikstad, Norway for the Park World Tour orienteering competition. Today is stage 5 out of 8 in this competition that spans the globe. We're going to find out what orienteering is. Let's go take a look at that right now.
Orienteering is finding the fastest way between 2 points, the start and the finish. And on those, that way you should get a pass through some control points. And it's normally in the forest. Right here where we are today, it's in a park. But it's finding the fastest way from A to B, and you use a map and a compass as a tool to find those controls, which you in advance don't know where are hidden.
The women's competition is first, and the favorite is Norway's own Hanne Staff, the current queen of orienteering. Competitors start at 1 minute intervals. If you would, notice the upturned map flapping to the left of your screen. This is a map of the course, and the orienteers will see this for the first time when they start their race. The key to orienteering is making the split-second decisions between control points. Oh, and by the way, there's no cheating.
Orienteers check in at these orange and white flags, which are called control points. Today they use a computer chip, a little memory stick, which they dip into the control box to prove they've been there. Because in orienteering, it's very important to hit the control points in sequence.
Running and reading a map while checking in at a control point is not easy, especially when it's on a wet, grassy slope. She won't be thanking the course planner for that. So who's the mastermind at work behind this course anyway?
This terrain is very special. It consists of many roads and ways, and there is an old fortified town with moats around. The challenging here is to make courses with a lot of route choices, because the control points themselves are quite easy, but to find the right route between the controls, it can be difficult. And if you don't decide, if you don't take the right decision, you can lose a lot of time.
Here comes an Austrian finisher at the moment. Woo! Come on, woo! As you can see by the pained looks on their face, it doesn't look like it's all glamour here in the orienteering world. Here comes the world champion Hanne Staff to the finish, who we think is just taking the lead of the race.
The race favorite Hanne Staff did win by a margin of 0.5 of 1 second. She went on to collect the first prize of 7,500 Swedish krona. That's about 830 American dollars.
I made maybe 10 seconds mistakes out here, but you don't know if you're taking the right route choices. And I heard that Peter Thoresen, that comment on television, said that I made at least one quite wrong route choice. So, but you never know when you're out there.
Now, how does this differ from real orienteering for folks of us who don't know at home? Today was sort of like a sprint race in the city.
Yeah. The difference is you have not so much time to decide what to do because it's so close. You have to just look at the map and, okay, I make this decision and then run and go for it. Because if you stay 2-3 seconds thinking, then you have lost it already.
The men's race was run over the same course and was won by the Ukrainian Yuri Omolchenko. But the day belonged to Hannah's staff, who was also awarded a further prize of Orienteer of the Year.
It was special for me and for also orienteering as a sport because we are not yet Olympic and it's hard to get out to let people know about the sport. So it was a way to get publicity for the sport here in Norway and maybe around the world.
Woo! Well, it was a big night here at Friday Night Thunder from Eagle River, Wisconsin. Lots of speed, lots of action, lots of big air. Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow when we're going to see the finals of the World Snowmobile Championships right here from Eagle River. Well, it's getting a little late. It's getting a little cold. It's about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Time for me to hit the hot tub and meet the Swedish massage team. See you soon.